For the fourth time in 11 days, Indian consumers are waking up to higher fuel prices. As this digital display shows, petrol is hitting over 115 rupees a liter in some areas. In major metropolitan areas like Delhi, the psychological barrier has officially broken, with petrol crossing the 100 rupee mark to sit at roughly 102 rupees per liter. The forces driving this surge aren't domestic. Everyday citizens are absorbing the financial shockwaves of military conflicts happening thousands of miles away. What you pay at the local pump is the final casualty of a highly fragile global supply chain. To understand why, look at the nation's energy diet. India imports approximately 85% of its crude oil. Moving that much energy requires a massive maritime network of supertankers, constantly ferrying crude from ports in the Middle East across the Arabian Sea. Because of this heavy reliance on imports, any physical threat to those shipping lanes immediately ripples through the domestic economy. Often, a ship doesn't even need to be delayed. The mere speculation that supply might be lost triggers panic buying, driving up international costs before a single drop of oil is actually disrupted. The country's economic baseline is effectively held hostage by the international oil market's reaction to global chaos. The global crude oil trade relies on a strict balance of supply and demand, dictating the baseline cost for refineries seen here. On exchange floors, international traders constantly speculate on oil futures. If they perceive a geopolitical risk, they buy aggressively, and prices fluctuate rapidly. During periods of relative peace, when international crude hovered around $60 a barrel, global petroleum companies secured massive windfall profits. But that baseline cost vanishes the moment instability strikes, replaced by sudden financial spikes that drill directly into consumer pockets. The international market operates on a simple design. It absorbs surplus profits during peacetime and immediately passes the financial pain down to the end consumer during a crisis. The current price hikes in Delhi and Mumbai are a direct reaction to the ongoing military actions in West Asia. Every escalation near critical shipping routes signals a potential supply bottleneck, triggering immediate panic among suppliers. This chart shows the global impact of that panic. While India has seen a fuel price increase of 7.8%, the United States has experienced a 48% hike, and Pakistan sits at 50.4%. Yet to the Indian consumer, that relatively lower percentage is still devastating. It lands on top of pre-existing financial pressures and a stretched middle class. Even when the worst of the global shock is mitigated, a geopolitical premium is inevitably paid at the local pump. Where does a 100 rupee petrol purchase go? 55 rupees covers crude oil, logistics, and refining. The central government takes 15 rupees in excise duties, while states collect 30 rupees in taxes, leaving just 4 rupees for the pump dealer. Inside Parliament, this math draws sharp criticism. Opposition leaders argue that those who made billions during low-cost periods should absorb the current crisis costs, rather than heavily taxing the public. The true price of a liter of fuel is a combination of two strict forces: uncontrollable global war premiums and highly controllable domestic taxation. When the cost of commercial diesel rises, the entire logistics and freight transportation sector becomes more expensive to operate. That cost is passed directly from freight trucks to the consumer, driving up the price of daily essentials like milk and fresh produce in local markets. The strain extends to everyday public transportation, forcing up fares for auto rickshaws and cabs. This compounded inflation hits the Aam Aadmi from all sides, sparking localized political protests and mounting public frustration. A fuel hike operates as a stealth tax on every single aspect of daily survival for the common citizen. As long as the nation relies heavily on fossil fuels, its domestic economic stability will remain tied to foreign conflicts. To permanently decouple from the global oil markets, India is beginning a strategic transition toward electric vehicles and renewable energy. Building true long-term energy independence requires massive domestic investments in solar, wind, and grid infrastructure. The ultimate solution to the petrol price crisis won't be found at the pump. It requires rewiring the nation's entire energy grid for the future.